Raider Nation, make sure you subscribe to the Las Vegas Raiders Report, the #1 most watched Raiders channel on YouTube, if you're looking for the latest news, rumors, and guess what? We also do live shows every single Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. What are you waiting for? Go ahead, hit that big red button. Coming up right now here on the Las Vegas Raiders Report, we're going to take a deep dive into the latest news and rumors, so make sure that y'all aren't going anywhere. No matter the location, from O-A-K-L-A to L-V, I'm a Raider. Raider Nation, today's show is presented by Manscaped. Go ahead and get that perfect package, 20% off and free shipping. You know where to get it. It's at manscaped.com/Raiders. Y'all know that I love Manscaped, and I want you to go support our sponsors. They keep the show going here, and they're also a big way we can keep the show for free. It's manscaped.com/Raiders. That is in the comments section and in the description below. Let's talk about some NFL news, shall we? So I had a ton of people ask me, hey, Mitch, should the Raiders go out and get Takk McKinley? Well, he was released by the Atlanta Falcons on Monday, and it is now official. He is no longer a member of the team because technically, it takes 24 hours. He was released on Tuesday. This is a young player that has definitely flashed some promise when healthy, but he appeared to be a locker room issue. Now, that's the news side of it. But here at the Raiders Report, we want opinions. You guys want to know whether or not I think that the Raiders should go out and sign Takk. I mean, what do you guys think? Is it a 2 Chucky heads? They absolutely, 50-50. Maybe it's 3 Chucky heads. Or I wore the shirt today for a reason. Should the Raiders go out and sign Takk? If they have the opportunity to, yes, you absolutely do it. It's 4 Chucky heads, believe it, baby. Now, I don't know if he makes it all the way to the Raiders because he's got to clear waivers, but if he does and he is there sitting on the table, you absolutely do it. The Raiders are still in desperate need of a pass rusher. And I mean, it's low risk, high reward. He's owed only just $875K for the rest of the year. I mean, what do you have to lose? He was former first-round pick out of UCLA, and sure, it never really worked out for him the way that I think a lot of us, will say people in the NFL world and the Atlanta Falcons were hoping that it was going to work, but he is still a good enough player where the fact that he's a free agent, there's going to be a lot of NFL teams interested. Now, here are his numbers from this season. 8 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, a sack, and a pass breakup. You see it's 4 games. It's honestly more like closer to 2 games just because, of injuries, him coming in and out of football games. But here's career stats. 17.5. And I think for a player who is as talented as him, 17.5 sacks. That's not good enough. And I think he'd be another guy that would kind of tell you that. He, in a weird way, made fun of himself, that said that the Falcons didn't trade him and almost made fun of the Falcons. It was a really, really weird thing to do. But bottom line is this. When you look at the Raiders' sack leaders, it is really just Max Crosby, and then it's nobody else. Now, I'll still say the best defensive player on this team from the entire year has actually been Cleveland Ferrell. But at the end of the day, when Max Crosby's got 5, then the next closest guy is Carl Nassib with 1.5 sacks. I mean, come on, y'all. We need somebody that can go out and get after the quarterback. I mean, look at these numbers. 9 sacks in the NFL. That's pathetic. That is tied for 31st in the National Football League with the Jags, who have 1 win, with the Panthers, who have 3 wins. Now, excuse me, the Titans and the Jets, again, the Titans are really the only other team here that's halfway decent. They got rid of Vic Beasley. They got Jadeveon Clowney, who's banged up. But, I mean, this is an issue for the Raiders that just continues to happen. And I'm sitting here, and I'm starting to get sick and tired of the fact that the Raiders aren't doing anything about it. So, should the Raiders go out and get Takk McKinley? If you have the opportunity to, you absolutely do it. The Raiders have about $5.85 million in cap space right now, which isn't a lot of money. And I know they missed out on a lot of money from this past year. But, I mean, come on. He cost $875K. Go out and make the move. Excuse me again. Should the Raiders sign Takk McKinley? Give me a Y for yes, or I want you to guys type your N for no. I'm going to make this the pinned comment on today's video, so go ahead and let me know. All right, Arnette, is he playing in Week 10? I'm going to give it 3 Chucky heads, but I desperately need a sip of water. Again, guys, sorry, my voice is shot. All right, so Damon Arnette, is he playing this upcoming week? So he hasn't played since Week 3. He's been dealing with a thumb. He visited Houston last week with, a hand specialist, and the Raiders were hopeful that he was going to be able to play this past week, but he wasn't fully ready, and they were obviously going to rest him. They drafted him in the first round for a reason. So now you're looking at Damon Arnette, and it looks like he is going to be able to rock and roll going up against the Broncos, which is definitely something that I think, gets us really, really excited here. God, I am struggling, guys. I'm sorry. So the fact that Arnette isn't wearing a cast, that's a really good sign to me. He posted on his Instagram that he wasn't wearing a cast, and anytime for a player that's been wearing one for 6 weeks, shout out to producer Dylan who's still producing the show, and he's in a sling. If you could tell him right now, hey, I can get out of this sling, he'd be really, really excited. So right now it looks like it's good news. I'm pretty sure we are going to be able to get Damon Arnette back, which is good because also Trayvon Mullen last week, he was battling a hamstring injury. I know a bunch of people were like, yo, where the heck is Trayvon Mullen? Why isn't he playing in the final 2 snaps? It's because of that hammy. So is he playing against the Broncos? This one is again. I'm going to give it 3 Chucky heads, and I do think that it's pretty likely here. Mullen has been everything that the Raiders were hoping for when they drafted him in the 2nd round. He was a player that, when coming out of Clemson, he had some high upside. He also showed some low side as well. But this year, he has been that lockdown cornerback for this Las Vegas Raiders team, and the report right now is that he should be good to go, and I'm hoping that he is good to go. And I think the only way that the Raiders put him out onto the football field is if he is 100%, because if he gets hurt, the secondary is going to be really, really hard to watch. Now, here's right now what the depth chart is looking like. You have Nevin Lawson, who got a little bit exposed. I'm also thinking that Isaiah Johnson's going to get a little bit more playing time here. Also look for Amik Robertson. We'll talk about him in a little bit. Now, Eric Harris, I know we've been ripping on him. He actually, I thought, played pretty well this past week. I thought Jeff Heath played pretty well, too. Keyshawn Nixon's still banged up as well. But the guy that, everyone's talking about this week, and, Isaiah Johnson said we're going to keep the train moving. So, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing here on the Raiders Report. Who do you think's a better cornerback, and who do you think deserves more playing time? If you think it's Isaiah Johnson, I want you to type IJ. If you think it's Nevin Lawson, I want you to type NL. Now, I'm going to get a sip of water here real quick while you get some of these votes in, and then I'm going to give some shout-outs. All right, so Devin McCall says Nevin Lawson sucks, and no surprise, I'm seeing nothing but Isaiah Johnson's. And I actually do anticipate that you see some Johnson, you see some of Lawson kind of split up back and forth here. So seeing a lot of Dale, seeing a lot of Andre also, everyone basically typing IJ. Now, I'll tell you what, man. Today I started the show, I said it's presented by Manscaped, and shout out to Manscaped. If you guys are Raider fans, if you love what I do here at the Raiders Report, I want you to also support Manscaped, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the shows, and I wouldn't be able to keep it for free. So go to manscaped.com/Raiders, because you can save 20% off and get free shipping. Now, I don't know if you can tell, I'm sweating a little bit, because I'm a little bit nervous because my voice keeps cracking, but you know what? Luckily for me, the perfect package, it's got ball deodorant, and even though I'm sweating under here, I'm not sweating down below because of the ball deodorant, because of the ball toner. It's 2 products that I absolutely love from Manscaped. Also, shout out to Mitchell Renz, FP, for the super chat. It's a very interesting one. But again, if you guys want to get the best package going here, manscaped.com/Raiders. And also, you get the most comfortable boxers for free and a traveling case. That is all included. That link will be available for y'all in the chat. There it is. Just click on it. And it's also in the description below. Go get started with them. I promise y'all, you won't regret it. All right, let's talk about Kolton Miller now, shall we? Is he going to end up returning against the Denver Broncos? I'm going to only be able to give this one 2 Chucky heads. People are talking. I actually thought that he was going to play this past week, and the fact that he didn't play tells me how bad he's hurting. This was the first game in Kolton Miller's career that he has missed, right? Like, imagine that, right? You're talking about a player that they did draft in the first round of 2018. That's how bad and badly banged up he was. Now, the good news is he's already been working with Raiders trainers, and he was doing that on Monday. He did it on Tuesday, and the Raiders right now seem that they are pretty optimistic that he plays. My fingers are crossed. I do want to give some love to Brandon Parker, who, he actually played pretty well, and he was one of the players that got a game ball this past week. Now, Sam Young on the right side, he's been pretty suspect, but Kolton Miller, the Raiders are optimistic. I'm probably going to say it's like a 60% chance that he ends up playing. Some other updates here. I see some people asking me about Trent Brown. I put out a video on Monday around Trent Brown. Sunday. He's going to be out at least a month from what it sounds like due to COVID complications, so don't expect him back for at least a month. Another player that the Raiders are going to be without here for a little while is Richie Incognito. Unfortunately, there's not too much of an update on him either. He's still on the IR dealing with that Achilles injury until he's fully healthy. The Raiders aren't just going to bring him back. All right, so let's look at the depth chart here. You have Kolton Miller. You have Denzel Good, you have Rodney Hudson, Gabe Jackson, and Trent Brown obviously on the COVID list. I'm hoping that Miller is able to rock and roll up against Denver, who has actually done a pretty solid job this year getting after the quarterback despite not having a lot of their defensive players. Denzel Good has stepped up. Gabe Jackson needs to be better, but the real story here is Kolton Miller. I'm going to give him a 60% chance of playing. All right, a bunch of y'all are asking me, hey, Mitch, is Alec Ingold going to end up playing this week? Unfortunately, y'all, is he going to be out? I'm going to give it 3 Chucky heads, and honestly, I'm almost – it's like 3.9 Chucky heads. The fact that the Raiders worked out not 3 but basically 4 fullbacks today, that scares me a little bit. One of them, I guess, is Rod Smith, who the Raiders know. But John Gruden flat out said that he's nervous and he's worried about the injury. And as soon as the game ended on Sunday, Ingold went to the hospital to be able to check out his ribs and get them all looked at. Now, I think it's funny how apparently there's a report out there that the Raiders could go out and use Foster Moreau and Nick Bowers at fullback. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about that. But you know what? If I could see Foster Moreau on the football field a little bit more, it wouldn't bother me, because I understand that Jason Witten's this, older player and Gruden likes his veterans, but Foster Moreau needs to be on the football field more than Jason Witten. And the fact that Witten continues to get more snaps than Moreau, it's very, very frustrating to me. And you know what? So if he can get out on the field as a fullback, maybe they can use him in the passing game a little bit more, because that's definitely a place where Alec Ingold, I think, doesn't get nearly enough credit. So now let's go to the next question here. Before I tell you a player that I think is actually going to get more playing time, name a Raider who should get more time here. Now, throw your comments down there below. I'm already seeing some Foster Moreaus. I see Isaiah Johnson from a few people as well. Also to the Super Chats. We will get to them in a second. So we got F all the injuries. So CJ Mark says Isaiah Ruggs deserves some more time. I see Devontae Booker. A lot more Isaiahs coming in. Continue to let me know. Oh, there's one. Amik Robertson. So who just said Amik? I got Dan Buff. So shout out to Dan Buff, because that's what we're going to talk about right now. More playing time for Amik Robertson. Yes, finally. This one again, I'm going to say it. 4 Chucky heads. Believe it, baby. And it's about damn time, right? Because not that LaMarcus Joyner's played so well, but for the Raiders, if you're going to go to a youth movement, you got to start playing your younger guys, and Amik Robertson's one of those dudes. Coming out of college, out of Louisiana Tech, he was one of the best players in the slot, at least I personally thought so. So the fact that now you could finally see Robertson getting more work there. Also, there's a report that you could finally see Joyner play a little bit more at safety. To me, this means 2 things. This means if Amik shows up and he plays great, it makes it a lot easier for the Raiders to move on from LaMarcus Joyner this offseason. Cut bait, you save about $8 to $9 million. Now, if Amik doesn't play well, then you have to reevaluate him and you have to reevaluate LaMarcus Joyner. But if you never play him, you don't know, and then you don't know what you're going to do in the offseason. But good news is he is going to start playing more here, so watch out for him.